What if the greatest conqueror the world has ever known had been killed by a single arrow? Not by an army, not by a king, but by a nameless warrior on the opposite side of the battlefield? That arrow almost rewrote history. It struck down Genghis Khan's horse. It nearly killed the man who would go on to build the largest land empire in human history. But what happened next was something no one could have predicted. The archer stepped forward. He confessed to the crime. And instead of execution, Genghis Khan gave him a name, a mission, and unleashed a monster of war. He would become Jebe, the arrow, the most feared general in the Mongol Empire, a ghost on the battlefield, a weapon sharpened by fate itself. He was supposed to end Genghis Khan. Instead, he helped conquer the world. This is the legend of the killer who became a conqueror.
The year was 1201. The Mongolian steppe was on fire with civil war. Tribes clashed for dominance. And at the center of it all, a man named Temujin, not yet called Genghis Khan, fought for his very survival. Facing the powerful alliance of rival clans, Temujin was outnumbered, outmatched, and outflanked. As the battle raged, an arrow cut through the air, fast, silent, merciless. It didn't hit Temujin. It hit his horse, killing the animal beneath him, throwing the future Khan to the ground. In the chaos of battle, no one knew who fired it. But Temujin never forgot. He didn't just lose a horse. He nearly lost everything. The archer who took the shot disappeared into the ranks of Temujin's enemies. A ghost, a man whose aim could have changed the destiny of the world. His name was Zergadai. He was no ordinary soldier. He was a sharpshooter, a hunter of men, a deadly weapon for hire. But fate was not done with him yet. The assassin's arrow missed its mark, but it marked him for something far greater.
Months passed. Temujin recovered. And as the tides of war shifted, he crushed the very tribes that once brought him to his knees. Among the prisoners was a warrior who did something unthinkable. He looked Genghis Khan in the eye and spoke. "I was the one who shot your horse." In that moment, death seemed certain. He had confessed to nearly killing the Khan. But then, something strange happened. Temujin didn't order an execution. He didn't scream. He smiled. Temujin gave him a new name, Jebe, the arrow. Not as a punishment, but as a symbol of precision, boldness, and fate itself. In an age of betrayal and vengeance, Temujin made a choice that stunned everyone. He took the man who nearly killed him and turned him into one of the greatest generals the world has ever known. Jebe wasn't just spared, he was reborn. From a would-be assassin to the hand of vengeance that would burn empires to the ground. This was no longer a story of forgiveness. This was the birth of a legend.
Once a prisoner, now a general. Jebe didn't just serve Genghis Khan. He became his blade, his fury, his fire. His first target? The Western Shi Kingdom, a proud dynasty in northwestern China. Their cities were fortified, their armies seasoned. But Jebe didn't knock at the gates. He shattered them. Next, he turned to the mighty Jin dynasty with over 1 million troops. But Jebe didn't flinch. He outmaneuvered them, outpaced them, outwitted them. He mastered the art of the feigned retreat, drawing enemies into traps, then erasing them before they could scream. But Jebe wasn't done. In 1219, Genghis Khan turned west, toward the powerful Khwarezmian Empire in Central Asia. And who did he choose to spearhead the assault? Jebe. City after city fell before his bow. His name became a whispered curse in Persia. In every tent, every fortress, they asked, "Where is Jebe? When will he strike next?" Then came the greatest Mongol campaign of the early 13th century. Jebe and Subotai were unleashed together, like two storms colliding. Their mission? Penetrate deep into Eastern Europe. Scout, devastate, destroy. They rode 5,000 kilometers across the Caucasus, crushed the Georgian kingdom, ambushed the Rus principalities, and in 1223, they faced a coalition of Slavic and Kipchak forces at the Battle of the Kalka River. They ran. The enemy chased. For days. Then Jebe turned, and the Mongols struck like lightning. The coalition was annihilated. The Mongols executed the nobles under wooden planks, slowly crushed to death. Jebe had become more than a general. He was a myth in motion, a storm that no fortress, no king, no god could withstand.
He conquered kingdoms. He outran empires. He rode farther than any Mongol general before him. And then he disappeared. After the decisive victory at the Battle of the Kalka River in 1223, Jebe vanished from the pages of history. No grave, no records, no glory, just silence. Some say he died during the retreat back to Mongolia, ambushed by Circassian warriors in the Caucasus Mountains. Others believe he fell ill, far from home, and was buried in secret to protect his body from desecration. And there are whispers that he was assassinated. Theories abound. Revenge from Khwarezmian nobles? Rival Mongol generals threatened by his power? Or did he simply vanish, swallowed by the vastness of the steppe, like a shadow that had fulfilled its purpose? What we know is this. The man who once fired an arrow at Genghis Khan became a legend beside him. And when the blood dried and the cities burned, Jebe left the world the same way he entered it, in silence and in deathless myth. He left no autobiography, no dynasty, no gold-plated tomb. And yet, his name echoes through centuries of fear, fire, and awe. Jebe was not just a warrior. He was a tactic given flesh, a man who rewrote the rules of warfare. He proved that loyalty can be forged from honesty, that the most dangerous enemy could become the most loyal ally if only a leader had the vision to see it. Temujin, the man who trusted no one, trusted Jebe because Jebe was more than a general. He was a mirror of Genghis Khan's own ruthless genius. He mastered psychological warfare before the term even existed. He pioneered the feigned retreat, a move still studied in military academies. He led the longest Mongol raid in history, thousands of kilometers through enemy lands without reinforcements. No fortress could contain him. No army could predict him. No general could match him. And though he fought for the Mongols, Jebe became a legend across cultures. In China, he's feared as the ghost who broke dynasties. In Persia, he's remembered as the arrow that flew farther than empires. In Russia and Georgia, he's the shadow that came and vanished with fire. Today, few know his name. No marble statues, no national holidays, just the whispers of historians, who still marvel at the assassin who became an empire's scalpel. Jebe fired an arrow that nearly changed history, then spent the rest of his life changing it anyway. He was supposed to end Genghis Khan. Instead, he helped end the old world.
Jebe didn't write history with ink. He carved it into continents, with fire, speed, and silence. A man who should have died for his crime, but instead rewrote his fate, and in doing so, rewrote the fate of the world. Remember his name, not for who he killed, but for who he didn't. If this story sent chills down your spine, hit like to honor the forgotten warrior. Share this video so more people know the name Jebe, the arrow. Subscribe to our channel for more shocking, hidden, and mind-blowing stories from the corners of history no one dares to touch. What if the arrow had flown just an inch higher? What if Jebe never confessed? What if Genghis Khan chose vengeance instead of vision? History isn't written by kings. It's written by the ones you never see coming.